Hi, my beautiful fashionistas. Welcome back to Yvonne Winifreyuji. So I was gifted this saree net fabric, and it is a beautiful one. And I was still inspired by the Indian Punjabi style to make the trouser and the top that we are going to be making today. So with this net fabric, being that it is see-through, we need to add some other fabric, and I went for this cotton orange fabric. That is what I want to put inside as the lining, so it will be looking like that. And to start off, you're going to cut the trouser first. And I've already cut the trouser piece, as you see, and I'm going to fold this piece into two. The fold is according to the hip measurement divided by 4 plus the crotch ease and the sewing allowances, since we are marking directly onto the fabric. So the length is about 38 inches. So I have all that together and some excess. So guys, on top here, we have to cut off this orange color. It is not necessary. And after cutting it out, I'm going to mark a line that is 1/2 inch from the starting point on the top, and that 1/2 inch will be the sewing allowance. So the line is there. I'm sorry, it is in blue. It's not showing so brightly, but just know there is the sewing allowance at the top. So since we need to add an elastic band, I'm going to place my tape measure from the 1.5 inches. I'll be needing an elastic band of 1.5 inches. So from that 1.5 inches, from the starting line that we've marked, I marked the crotch line. To get this crotch line, guys, I measured, to get the crotch line, I measured my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch, and I got the crotch line. And then I went down and added 2 inches along the ankle line, or on top of the ankle line, for the sewing hemline later. So along this crotch line, guys, I'm sorry my lines are a bit faint, but just follow what I'm talking about, you will understand everything. So at first I marked the hip measurement divided by 4. Then I added the ease allowance of 2.5 inches, since we are going to be adding lining. Then whatever I got from dividing my hip measurement by 4, again I divide that by 4 to get the crotch ease. So along the crotch line, we have the hip measurement divided by 4. After that, we add the sewing allowance plus ease allowance if you want your pant to be loose. So guys, there's this that I want to show you here. Here you're seeing me marking the hip measurement divided by 4 on the crotch line, and at the top of the top of the trouser, the waistline, guys. And some people make that mistake, and I made it to here, but thank God that I realized and I had to change that. So before even adding the allowance, sometimes you mark that center front, but that is wrong. You have to measure your hip measurement divided by 4 plus the sewing allowances. Then you mark that on the crotch line and also on top here at the waistline. So this is what I'm doing to correct everything. So this is the correct center front. This is the correct center front. After the hip measurement divided by 4, please add the allowances, then mark that line from the crotch line up to the waistline, then curve it out, carve out the crotch curve like this. Make sure it does not, go beyond 1 inch. That curve shouldn't go beyond 1 inch. Then that will be all. On top of the waistline, it will just be folded. So this is the wrong line, and the next one is the correct line that we're supposed to use. From that line, you just mark into the crotch ease. So at this point, I'm marking them. I'm measuring what I have on the crotch line here. Whatever I have, I get its midpoint, or I divide it by 2. Whatever I get, I mark it here. So it's like you're getting the midpoint of the crotch line, and you come again, you mark that same measurement that you've gotten at the midpoint of the crotch line, you mark it at this ankle line into the sewing allowance, and then you connect these 2 points. Hope you're understanding everything. Please, if you don't, please comment below. I'll explain very well to you. So I'm connecting these 2 points together like this to get the midpoint of this trouser. It's kind of yeah, that is the midpoint. So along the ankle line, here I just wanted a free pant. It's in between the wide leg and also the straight leg pant. So I decided to go with 10 inches along the ankle line. Remember, the ankle line and the thigh line we divide by 2, and then the other measurements we divide by 4. So at the ankle line, altogether, if I have about like 16 inches, I'll divide that by 2 and get 8 inches. And I will mark 4 inches on the either sides of this midpoint line that we've marked. But in this case, I decided to use 10 inches. So I'm going to mark 5 inches on the either sides of this midpoint line. So here I'm marking 5 inches from the midpoint, and the other side also 5 inches. So when I looked here, I was like, this trouser might be, kind of a little bit small. So I decided to add 1 inch on either sides for the sewing allowances. Remember, we are marking a pant that is in between the wide leg and the straight leg, kind of a pant. So after there, I'm going to connect these points from the ankle line to the crotch ease line, and also other side like that, simply. So this is it. After off camera, I connected the line like that. Sometimes some people, can make this line a little bit curved, especially if you have the pant curve. And when cutting, I'll fold in the sewing allowance, or the hemline allowance, the hemming allowance. So this is what I've connected. Here you can come in a little bit by half an inch like that, since this is a pant. So now I'm going to first cut off this excess that is not needed, then fold in the hemming allowance, then start cutting the pant. So just follow and you're going to see the shape that we've been cutting. I'm sorry, my lines were a bit faint. I realized when I was just editing. Then like this, then the side. So we didn't mark the waistline because this is going to be an elastic pant. So this will be gathered by an elastic. So at the center front here, guys, I'm going to come in by half an inch and cut that off so that there is no bulge at the center front. You can even, like that. So that is what I'm going to work with. This will be divided into 2, so I'll have 2 pieces of the front part of the trouser, and I'm going to use this part to cut out the back. So to cut out the back, I've folded another piece of fabric into 2, just as you see, and I've placed my front piece on top, and I've left some allowances on top of the waistline of the front piece, and also I left some allowances at the crotch line, this side of the front. So we are going to manipulate the front into to get the back piece, just like that. So at the top here, I'm just going up by 2 inches. This is size large, guys. This is not medium or small. And the hip is really, so I had to add 2 inches, but you can add 1 inch or 1.5 inches. Then connecting to the sides. The 2 inches is only added on at the center front along the waistline. So here, even at the crotch, guys, I decided to add still 2 inches because I'm of a large size, guys. I'm not so medium, especially when it comes to my bottom part. So I just decided to go with the same crotch curve just as the front. And then from the 2 inches we added along the crotch line for the back, I just connected into 1 inch, then to the ankle line. So it was 1 inch like at the ankle line that was added. Then I connected into the 2 inches, that is at the crotch line. Then I cut it out, though at the end I realized I had more excess, so you can even add half an inch at the ankle line, then 1.5 inches at the crotch line, then connect. So I think you're seeing how we are cutting everything together. And I have many tutorials of how to sew pants, guys. You can check them out on this channel. You will find them very useful. So at the other sides, I left everything just the way as the front was. So now we have 2 pieces for the front, 2 pieces for the back, and I'm going to go ahead and fold in my lining piece and place them on top like this, pin everything down and cut out the lining pieces. You know, you just duplicate everything that you have for the main pieces and after cut them out. So now guys, for the top pieces or the top part of this outfit, I folded another fabric into 2 like this, and this center length is 24 inches, but I added some hemming allowance at the top, at the hemming allowance at the bottom, guys, and also at the top I added half an inch for the shoulder allowance. So from that half an inch shoulder allowance, you see that I have 24 inches plus the hemming allowance. So now along this starting line, I'm going to mark the shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. I added half an inch since I'll be adding some sleeves, so I have 8 inches. Then I marked neckline width of 3 inches and neckline depth also 3 inches. But after the neckline depth of 3 inches, I went down and marked 4 inches for the slit opening at the top there. From the crotch, from where the shoulder stopped, I went down by 1 inch and I connected from that 1 inch into the neckline width, just as we do the bodies of every garment. I hope you know how to. If you don't, please comment below, I'll help you. So that is what I marked. My chalk was faint here, guys, but I'm so sorry. So at the shoulder, I added the half an inch as the sewing allowance on top there. From this 1 inch this side, I went down by the armhole depth of 8 inches. So and at that point I marked that line there, which is the chest line. And along this chest line, guys, whatever I have at the shoulder line, it has to be parallel to whatever I have at the chest line, the 8 inches. Then connected this line so that I carve out the armhole. So I'm not going to move in by half an inch at the midpoint of this armhole line. I'm just going to carve out, since this is a free top, it is free, I'm going to add some free or excess allowance so that it is a free top. It is not all that tight. And I even wanted the length to be up to like knee length, since that is the Punjabi style, but I was like, anyways, let me leave mine along the hip length. So along the chest line, I just marked the bust measurement divided by 4. Then I added the sewing allowance and the ease allowance of half an inch. At the waistline, I did the same, waistline divided by 4 plus sewing allowance of 1.5 inches and the ease allowance of half an inch. Then here at the hemline, I'm just going to mark the hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches, half an inch is allowance, 1.5 inches is the sewing allowance. Then I'm just going to connect those points to shape out the top of this outfit. So that is what I did, like that. It is kind of a little bit tight, but not so tight, because there is half an inch as the ease allowance. So that is it, guys. So now let me cut it out so that we can see very well what we cut. So along the hemline, when I was sewing, guys, I went up by half an inch at the ends or the sides, and shaped it a little bit more. So here at the center front, I'm going to slit these 4 inches for the slit opening at the center front. So that is what we have, and I'm going to use this also to cut out the back and also to cut out the lining pieces. So this is the front, or the top front. So for the back, this is what I have. I've already cut it out. Simply I just duplicated the sides of the front, and for the neckline width of the back, from where the neckline width of the front stopped, I went up by 1 inch, so the neckline depth of the back was just 2 inches. Yeah, and then I added 1.5 inches as the zipper allowance, and that is what we have as of there. So now I'm just going to go and duplicate everything on the lining pieces, then start the sewing. So my back pieces are a little bit different, but it's the same fabric. One part was like this and the other part was like the other front piece. So let us start. So we are going to start by sewing the trouser, and simply guys, I'll just sew along the center front into the inner leg and even the sides only. That is main fabric to lining for all the pieces of the back. Then afterwards I will connect the 2 front pieces along the center front into the crotch, and also the inner leg, the sides. Then on the top I'll add the elastic band to pass the elastic. I used an elastic that was 1 inch in width. Then the bottom will just be double folded like that, and that will be the end. So simple. The trouser is so simple. Let me just show you a snippet of it at the sewing machine as I was sewing after adding the lining pieces, guys. You know, this is the center front. Let me show you the center front into the crotch line. That is how it looks like so far. And I'm going to do the same even at the back, and then join the sides, add the elastic band or the elastic casing, and then that will be all. And this is how it looked like. So I realized, guys, there were some excesses at the back and also at the front, so I think I'll make some alterations there if I really need that. Though I was going for a free pant, but if it looks very vague, I have to do the alterations. Yes, there. Then the hemline, it shortened a little bit, and I will just, I just finished it by adding kind of a bias of the same fabric. So now for the front, I will sew along the neckline by 1/2 inch, then go into the slit, sew around that slit, then into the other side of the neckline, then the sides also. I will leave the shoulder, the hemline, and also the armhole. Those parts will not be sewn. That is for the front and the back. So for the back, this is the piece, all the pieces. Unfortunately, my lining was not enough, so I decided to use the same fabric, and that is what I have. I'll just sew in along the sides, then along the center back and also the neckline, then turn everything to the right side, even this same side. That is what I will do. Remember, at the back I'll add a simple short zipper at the center back, taking the sides and the center back and join everything together, add sleeves, and this is how it looks so far. So I wanted to make the alterations after testing it out, but this is how it looks like. At the back it made me kind of even flat, I think, because it is really loose, but it is okay for now. And that is how the top looked like, especially at the neckline. I think it is okay. I loved it. I loved the sleeves, I loved everything, and that is it, guys. I think I'll be making some alterations or even not. So that is how I made everything together. Remember to like, subscribe, share this video, and I think I'll be seeing you soon in any of my other videos. Thank you so much. See you. Remember to comment below whatever you think about this outfit. Thank you.